There we go. Ready when you are.
Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. I think it's 1:29 or 1:30. If somebody want to do the land acknowledgement?
I can read it if you'd like, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
The city of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of First Nations such as the Hatawandurunk, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The city of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live.
Thank you. Any declarations of interest? Seeing none, we'll a motion to adopt the agenda. Joey, Marilyn, any questions? Comments? All in favor? Motion to adopt the minutes of Thursday, March 16th, 2023. Joey, Councillor O'Hare, any questions, changes, comments? All in favor? Okay. Correspondence, we don't have any. This is going to be a short meeting, I think. Committee business, the rack cards, I haven't been able I sent it to Megan, but I didn't get any comments from her. And I haven't been able to touch base with her one-on-one. I don't think there'll be a lot of changes if they're not calling the arena anymore and they're calling this the main number. Are all calls now being directed through the 6313 number instead of like calling the arena and calling Public Works? There's a Public Works after hour on the rack card. Matt?
Stephanie, do you want to take that?
Yeah, we do have an emergency after hours number that we could provide with you. I didn't have a chance to check to see if that one is the correct number, but all other general inquiries, like basic inquiries about our services and programs, arena, stuff like that, that does go through the main number and then flows through to the appropriate department. So that would be the one adjustment, but I will confirm on the emergency after hours number and make sure it's the correct one.
Okay, so there's one emergency after hours numbers. It says Public Works or something. So if you confirm that, and then what we'll do is we'll change the arena one to the Canada Games Park number. Is everybody in agreement with that? That would be the only one that had to be changed. Or do you have another suggestion for another number there? Councillor O'Hare?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, I'm not another number, but I just wanted to add, we had discussed this once before that if Ryan over at Print 3 is able to make the age-friendly logo a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to read, I think that would be beneficial.
He might be able to by taking out that swoosh line. There's a swoosh line there that's not necessary. If you take out that swoosh line, the logo would be bigger. Mm-hmm. Do we want to just have age friendly, or do we also want to put the city logo on it, or just leave age friendly? Any comments, Megan?
So it would be my recommendation. I'd like to see some city branding on it, as it will be, it's technically a city resource. So I'd like to see the city logo be added, whether we can kind of put it beside the age-friendly logo, and we can look at some formatting options for that, but I would recommend the logo be added as well.
Okay, so a bigger logo, add the city, delete the arenas number, and add the parks. The Canada Parks number, Games Parks number. We'll get the right wording for that. Okay, so those are the changes. And we got to confirm with Stephanie that after hours number is correct. Okay, so I'll follow up with and I'll get them to redo a draft, and then we can have a look at the draft. So I will have that for sure for the next meeting with those changes. Megan?
Hey, Jean, sorry. There's just a couple other pieces, like with regards to some of the other branding standards for the city that we're starting to kind of roll out in some of our marketing materials.
even just with some consistent colors and tones that we're starting to use. I like the blue color of the rat card, but I would like to maybe make some other recommendations to see us use the actual City of Thorold logo blue color, which again, I could provide that hex code over to the printer. So I'd be happy if you wanted to bring me into the conversation to work directly with the gentleman at the print shop, whoever your contact is. I'd be happy to provide that information as well, if that would be helpful.
That'd be very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll work with Stephanie and Megan and get this rebranded, and then we'll bring it to the next meeting to make sure everybody's happy. And then we'll get these things printed, so we have some for the year. Is that okay? Okay, thank you. Okay, New Horizons grant. As all of you, we talked about the New Horizons grant the last meeting, did we not?
Yes.
Okay, so you know that we have roughly $18,000 to $19,000 to spend. So how things are in general, probably by the next meeting, we'll have a pretty good idea of some of the programming and the specific programming. But June 1st has pretty much been established. What we're going to do is the doors open at the senior center at 8:30, and I will have the official itinerary once I get approved from the subcommittee that's working on this. The doors open at the senior center at 8:30, roughly between 8:45 and 9 o'clock. The program starts. We will recognize dignitaries. We're going to invite the MP. We want a representative from the City of Thorold. The mayor will not be there because he'll be away. So we'll need a rep from the City of Thorold. We'll go through the mayor's office to see who's coming and representing the city on that. So we'll do the dignitaries. The first part of the meeting, maybe a half an hour, will be what are the programs that are going to be happening in the summer. In the summer through this program and what's happening at the senior center. It's going to be a general overview of all the programming we're going to have in the summer, both through the grant and through the library and through the senior center, and the city can mention what's going on in the city in the summer and the fall. Then we're going to have somebody doing something on balance, somebody from Brock doing something on balance, how to maintain your balance, how to stay healthy that way. Then we have, where is Leslie? What's the lady's name? The horticulturalist, columnist? Teresa, you're on mute. You're on mute, Leslie. Okay. She can't. Leslie, you're on mute. Okay, well,
I'm sorry. Teresa Forte. She's the horticultural writer for the Standard, the Spectator, the Niagara Falls Review, and I believe the Welland Tribune.
She's coming, and then I'm going to do a quick overview on the highlights of our Empowering Older Adult survey in Niagara. Just a couple of slides showing the highlights of that, because many of those people that'll be at the meeting have participated in the survey. And then we're going to have William Thomas be our final speaker, and he'll also be available. That'll go until roughly noon. Then we're going to have a luncheon, which is going to be either free or minimal costs. We haven't got that yet. I'm thinking it should be a minimal cost, like $5, because if it's free, everybody and their brother will want to come, and then they don't show up. So, and then after that, the people that were at the meeting and the luncheon who are not members of the center will have to leave, because their general meeting will start at 1. So that's kind of the big pit. That's the verbal one, overview of what's happening on June 1st. June is Seniors Month, so this is a kickoff to Seniors Month. And the luncheon and the program will be open to everyone, not just members of the senior center. And as I said, I will have the official itinerary for the next meeting. any questions on what that sounds like? Okay, I just want to confirm that in our budget for June 1st, I have June 1st forum, I have $250 allocated to that. I just want to confirm that I can spend up to $250 for the June 1st event. Most of it will go to pay for half of Thomas Williams' gratuity.
The budget for the committees of council will be brought on the May 2nd council meeting. So after that date, I'll confirm all of the budgets and then you'll be able to spend at that time.
Okay, well, that's plenty of time for June 1st. Okay, that's great, Stephanie. Okay, so, and then the rest of the grant, what's going to happen is there's going to be a number of free programs in the summertime, like Stephanie organized during COVID. Stephanie has been attending our meetings and has been most helpful to keep us on track. And hopefully, Megan, you can attend our meetings so you know what's going on and you can help us with advertising. One of the big things in the survey, if you noticed, was a lot of people, they have a hard time knowing where to find out about things. So communications is definitely an issue for people. And I told Stephanie this. Last year, I was 4 years on the Parks and Rec Committee, and I did not know that we had summer programming in the parks. And I love Zumba. So the communications is definitely, and with Megan now, I know communications has improved and is improving. So it's a great asset to have both Stephanie and Megan on board. So there's going to be programs there. Then in the fall, there's going to be a number of classes and information sessions. Classes like Cooking for One have come up, and there are all kinds of different classes that are going to be considered, probably mostly held at the Senior Center of the TSAG. So we'll have more of a, we've got a kind of a list, but we have to confirm now exact dates and times and people who are going to teach that. And I know there's some things that we have to fill out for the city that Stephanie has brought to our attention. So hopefully we'll get all of that done. So we get the paperwork done and we're not in trouble with the city, and we do everything according to what we're supposed to do. So Stephanie's been most helpful in bringing these things to our attention and working with us. So there's going to be programming then in the fall, and then in June of 2024, there's going to be a big event with a major speaker. And Pamela Wallen is being thrown around as a possible speaker. I don't know if she's doing speaking engagements, but possibly trying to contact her and seeing if she's doing speaking engagements. And we're looking for any suggestions for some high profile candidates to end the grant off with a really big event in June of 2024. And then again, to celebrate for the finish, the completion of the New Horizons grant, and to celebrate Seniors Month in June 2024. I think I've told you this before, but as I said, the specifics are starting to come together. So are there any questions on the New Horizons grant? Okay.
Sorry, Jean,
Yep, Matthew?
just a clarification now, for anybody who might not be familiar with it, just confirming the New Horizons grant was money granted to TCAG and or the Senior Center, is that correct?
No, it was granted to the TCAG, but the grant specifically says that it's in partnership with the TCAG, the library, and Age Friendly, and it received letters of support both from Jeff and the mayor.
Okay. So I just might recommend that once further details about the full plan and spending of the grant is sort of finalized, I might recommend that perhaps a memo or just sort of a written description of this just come through this committee to highlight it for council, so that council is aware of some of the programming that the Age Friendly will be doing on behalf of the city with regards to another organization's grant money. But I think that's great that that just clarifies it for anybody that might be watching this from the public that it's the TCAG. Thank you.
And I think once we get a really specific agenda, I think we'd like to come to a council meeting in June to note the whole grant and all of the programming that's going to happen. So not only will we bring it to this council, but we are hoping to, I don't know if we'll do it for June 1st, but if we can sometime in June and do all the programming too, so highlight it even further.
The council meeting in June is June 20th. So if you want to keep that date in mind, we can certainly pencil the Age Friendly Committee and or representatives from TCAG to have that. And then it would be an opportunity for you to specifically also highlight how the Age Friendly Committee will be involved so that just council's aware of that.
Can you pencil? That's very good, Matthew. Can you pencil us in for June 20th? And it would be probably representatives from the TCAG, definitely Age Friendly, and probably the library or the senior center. So yeah, I would appreciate if you'd pencil us in.
We can do that.
Thank you. Any other comments? Stephanie, did you have something? No?
Oh, no, sorry, my hand's just near my face.
Okay, that's okay, that's very good. Thank you. And as I said, Stephanie is keeping us so we get all the paperwork done properly. And Megan hopefully can help us with advertising as soon as we get things just a little bit more more specifics. Okay, any more on that? Do you want to leave it until there should be lots in the May meeting? We should have specifics ironed out a lot better for the May meeting. Okay, so we'll leave that one. Okay, we have next one is Nonprofit Housing Committee meeting. We have one position on our committee from Nonprofit Housing. I want to see if I can get onto the agenda for Nonprofit Housing to actually see if they will send a representative to our committee. I think it's important because housing is really important and they would be a big asset on our committee. But if they're not going to send anybody and they don't feel there's any relevance, then I think we have to know that. And I think then we can get rid of that and have another at-large position. So we'd have 2 at-large positions available to be filled. And if you know of anybody who's really interested in older adult issues and is interested in the committee, we have 1 vacancy right now. And depending on what the nonprofit committee wants to do or doesn't want to do, we may have 2. So I don't know how I can get on an agenda for the nonprofit. Do I call a nonprofit? Do I go through the city to get on their agenda? Any suggestions? Matthew?
So the Nonprofit Housing Corporation is a separate organization altogether. So you'd be best to reach out to them directly.
Okay.
I know at least one person from the city does sit, somebody who works for the city, I think, sits on it as a board member. So I could certainly highlight it for them that you're looking to get in touch and I can try and make that connection for you, but it's best to reach out to them directly.
Okay, if you can, or if anybody know, yeah, I would appreciate any way that I can facilitate the connection would be most appreciated. So is everybody in agreement that we contact them, and if they're not interested for whatever reason, that we change our terms of reference? Any objections to that? Okay. Okay, adopting a major project. I would like us to, and it's not going to be at this meeting. We may have to have a special meeting. I suggest we leave it till the fall, but I want to bring it up because I want you to think about it. Once the Empowering Older Adult Survey in Niagara, which includes the thorough data, if you looked at it, it's not a final report. She just sent it out as a draft and I sent it to you. The formatting is off, there's stuff in different places, but it tells you the results, okay, of the survey. And when I get it in final, and give you a preview of some of the results, because it was really interesting. So using that survey and what some of the things in that survey, I want us to adopt a project that we may that we may move forward on an extended time period that goes over a year or 2 years or 3 years. One of the projects might be home share for us to consider. Home share, they have it in Burlington. It's where the city tries to match students with older adults living, and they help the older adults in their home. They get a little bit of a reduced rent. They do minimal services for the senior in the home. But it's a very popular project in Burlington area, and I've seen other articles. It's other places. That's something. Housing is a big thing. We've got Thorold One is trying to get some housing, nonprofit housing on a property in St. David's. They've been to council. I think you've seen that. Is there anything? Do we want to get on board with them and help them out? Do we want to try to do another housing projects? Do we want to deal with something with social isolation? So looking at the survey and thinking about, do we want to do something on digital literacy, digital availability? So is there a project that kind of is near and dear to somebody's heart that is part of the pillars, one of the 8 dimensions of healthy living that we might want to adopt? Joey?
When you look at the results of the survey, the issue that was at the top priority of all respondents, rather 66% of the respondents, was remaining in their home.
Aging in place.
Right. So I think that's probably something that I'd like to see us move forward with to try to get it happening in Thorold.
Okay. That's a good one. Aging in place is very good.
I like that.
Can we note that adopting a major project, possibly aging in place in the minutes? And as I said, I think we got to leave this until the fall and have a really serious, there may be others. Let's not, I think that's an excellent idea. And aging in place can incorporate things like home share and things like that, because home share allows them to age in place, but it can incorporate lots of things. Councillor O'Hare?
Thank you, Madam Chair. When I read through the survey results, something popped out at me as well, and that is that I believe it was 50% of the respondents said that they would come out to social events if they had a friend.
Yeah.
So I think this is something we need to brainstorm and put our ideas together and see how we can create events that may inspire them to come out alone to make friends. It's hard to make friends when you're at home alone, but just to get people out, meeting and greeting. So this is a topic that we might want to look at as well. And it might be tied in as well with aging at home.
Okay, so let's call that increasing socialization.
Yeah,
Or does anybody have a better name for that? Okay. If anybody has a better name, let me know. But that would just let's capture these two. Let's not lose them. Okay. Is there anything else? These are good, great ideas. And it's using the report too.
mhm.
Okay. All right. So there's really, like, my plate is absolutely full with all of this stuff for the New Horizons grant. And I'm hoping that I can ask your indulgence that we can leave this until September, capturing these 2 items that are mentioned. And you can think about any other ones, and then have a serious, just maybe 1 meeting, even if it's a special one, just on how can we execute, what can we do to make this happen in the next 3 years as a long-term project.
Sounds good.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
And I will share the results, the survey, when it gets the final report of this. I'll share it with staff too, with Stephanie and Megan and Matthew and Jeff too, probably, because there are some really interesting results in here from the seniors, from the responses. Okay, I think I did number empowering older adult survey in Niagara. Is there anything else on adopting a major project? So we've captured those two things, and the way forward will be discussed more extensively in September. Okay, empowering older adult survey in Niagara. We've made comments on this all along. Does anybody else have any other? This will be revisited again too. But does anybody have anything else that really stood out to them? Councillor O'Hare?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I was going through the older adult info that was also provided, the link. And I clicked on recreation and sports and followed down the various cities in Niagara, and Thorold is not listed. So many other cities are, and we're not there. So I'm just wondering how we can stay on top of this and make sure our activities are also a part of the list.
Okay, I'll follow through with you. I don't know exactly where you're speaking of, but I'll follow through with you.
Okay.
Find out where you're talking about, and we'll find out how we can rectify that. Is that okay?
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
We'll do a one-on-one. I'm not exactly sure what
Okay.
where you're speaking of, but that should be rectified.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, anything else on that? So you will be talking more about this report. Okay, roundtable discussion. I'm gonna go roundtable from the people I can see in the order. So Leslie, anything going on?
Yeah, Saturday we are holding our annual AGM for District 9 of the OHA. District 9 includes 13 societies from Dunnville to the Niagara River and from Lake Ontario to Lake Erie. And it's our annual meeting. We have a really interesting speaker, if anyone's interested, Paul Gillette-Lee. He's the horticultural person at the Toronto Zoo, and he's going to talk about creating habitats for zoo animals compared to what we would normally have in this area. It should be interesting. And Wendy Summers, who's a judge, a flower judge, and judges sometimes our contest in June, our Rose and Flower Show. She's going to do a demonstration using, using Agriwool. If anyone has ever tried making up a design of flowers from the garden, they usually use the green foam. You soak it, put it in a container, and put your plants in, and the water in that green foam keeps them alive, so you have a centerpiece that lasts more than a day and a half. However, it's not biodegradable. You can only use it once. Once you use it and it gets wet, it crumbles to nothing. It's not, so you need to throw it in the garbage. Agriwool is completely biodegradable, and it's replacing the blocks of green foam that people use in their flower designs. And Wendy's going to show how to use it, and use our flower show brochure categories and pick one of those categories, and she's going to design something, and hopefully we'll bring in some new members and seniors that are interested in learning how to do flower design. That's Saturday. That's about the only thing coming up right away.
Thank you. Councillor O'Hara.
Sorry. Nothing personally for myself, but just a reminder that this Saturday is Earth Day and there'll be citywide cleanup. There's various spots throughout the city and it's going to be guaranteed 100% rain. So we've all been wet, we'll get wet again. Thank you.
Matt? Oh, thank you very much. Matt, anything from you?
Nothing for me today.
Joey?
I'm sorry, I don't have anything except to let Leslie know the daffodils are spectacular and the cherry trees are already blossoming. It's too early.
I know, it's beautiful.
Okay. Marilyn?
But there, no, nothing.
Thank you. Stephanie?
Nothing for me, thanks.
Okay, I have two things. I just want to remind everybody of Senior of the Year. We need the nominations by the Senior of the Year and Thorold Senior Association Senior of the Year. We need nominations by the end of next week. And also the Thorold Senior of the Year, the province wants us to send who that person is by April 30th, because they do certificates too for that. So if you can push, especially, I have a nominee, especially for the Thorold Senior of the Year, the city one. So, I have nomination forms, and there's some at the library and there's some at the senior center. So any help on that one would be appreciated. And the other thing that I asked, and Matthew, maybe you can help me, I want to have, and I don't know how to do this, I want to have a list of outstanding items and future events attached either to the minutes or attached as an addendum to, oh, okay, you got it. Sorry, it's right here. No, you did a good job. Okay. Sorry, it's all there. So that's not an issue. I'm the issue. Okay, I want to thank you for doing that. So you notice that on the second page of our agenda. That's perfect. So thank you. I appreciate all the help we're getting from the city. Joey?
Is my mute off? You can hear me?
Yep.
I just thought, I don't know at senior center, but this home support exercise program, it's through the March of Dimes and sponsored, of course, by the province. It's a 12-week program for seniors in their home once a week, and it's free. And I just wondered if we even have maybe this little handout at the senior center. I'd never heard this, but apparently it's been in effect for a couple years prior to COVID.
Joey, is there any way you can contact, like, this is a perfect program. This is aging in place.
Exactly.
Is there any way you can contact them and ask them to come to our next meeting and explain the program to us and how people apply?
Sure.
And then once we learn the real specifics and the nuts and bolts of it, then I think we should be promoting this through the senior center, through whatever. Like, this is aging in place and it's free. So is there any way you can figure out who might come and speak to our committee?
I'll contact March of Dimes and follow through, see what I can get done. What would be the date of our next meeting?
I should know. Is it on here? The date isn't on there. So it's, I'll let you, we'll let you know. I'll email you.
Okay.
And it's important to learn these. And if anybody has anything like that that they see, bring it up to the committee, because that's perfect, like, that's aging in place.
And it's your tax dollars are paying for it because the province is pushing it. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you for that, and we will get a speaker from there. And then we'll way forward, like, they should be at the monthly meeting of the Seniors Association too. I don't know, maybe we can even fit them in the June event for 10-15 minutes. I don't know, depending on what they say.
yeah, I'll get back to you, let you know how I make out.
Okay. So is there anything else? There's a lot going on. I'm just kind of a bit overwhelmed lately. Okay, anything else? Well, I want to thank you all. Again, I really want to thank all the support we're getting from the city, in particular Stephanie. So thank you all. Matthew, thank you for your support too. Thank you all. Okay, have a great month and go plant something. And we'll see you next month if we don't see you one-on-one before that.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.